Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be drafting out a pattern for this underbust corset top. If you're interested, please continue watching. So I already have my pattern paper, and the first measurement I'll take is my bust point, which is 10 inches. I'll take that and I'll draw a straight line. From there, I'm going to take my under bust point, which is 13 inches. I'll also mark that and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll mark my waist point, which is 16 inches. I'll also connect that with a straight line. And I'm going to mark the length of my top, which is 19 inches. So I'll label all my points. This is my bust point, my under bust, my waistline, and my top length. So the next measurement I'll take is my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So I'm going to come down by 8 inches from my shoulder measurement, and I'm going to rule into a straight line. This line is going to be my chest line. So I'll make sure that on my chest line I also have 8 inches, same thing I have on my shoulder line, and I'm going to join both lines together. From that point, I'll come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant, and I'm going to slant to meet the folded area. That is the area that has my neckline. Sorry, I made a mistake, but I'm correcting myself now. So I'm going to slant just like I'm doing now. And yeah, I'm going to cancel this line, it's not valid. So I'm going to measure what I have on my shoulder line, which is 8 inches. I'll divide that by 2. So I'm using my tape rule to find the middle point. I'll divide it by 2, and I'm going to indicate that middle point on that line. So on that middle point, I'm going to go in like this by half an inch, just like I'm doing. So on my chest line, I'm going to take my bust measurement divided by 4 on that line, and I'm going to curve out my armhole. So the next thing I'll do is to take my nipple to nipple measurement from one of my nipple to the other one, which is 8 inches. I'll divide it by 2, which is 4 inches. I'll take that measurement on my bust point, on my under bust, on my waistline, and on my top length, and I'll roll into a straight line. So on the waistline, I'm going to take my darts. I'll take ½ inch on the left, and I'll take ½ inch on the right. And on the bust point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and then I will connect the lines. On the neck area, I'll take 3 inches, and this is going to be the wideness of my shoulder. And on the chest line, I'm going to come down by 1/4 inch. I'm doing this to determine the depth of my neckline, so you can go down by 1 inch if you want. I'm taking ½ an inch, and then I'll go inward by another ½ an inch, and I'm going to connect both lines together. So what I'll do next is to slant from that ½ an inch to meet my shoulder line. And I will use my curved ruler to curve from that line to meet my under bust line. So on my armhole line, that small distance that I have between that straight line and the curve that I have on the armhole, I'm going to divide it by 2. Whatever I have there, I'll divide it by 2, and I'll make that line into a straight line, just a small straight line like this. And I also curve from that particular line to meet my under bust on the other side. So I'll just blend everything together just like I'm doing, and we have our cup already. Remember we took our bust circumference divided by 4 on our chest line. I'm going to add 1.5 inches for seam allowance, and on my waistline I'll take my waist measurement divided by 4. I will impute this dart that I took out, which is 1 inch, and I'm going to add the 1.5 inches for seam allowance. And on the top length, I'm going to add my hip measurement divided by 4. I'm going to replace the dart also, just like we did for the waistline, which is 1.5 inches, and I'm also going to add the 1.5 inches for seam allowance, and I'm going to connect the lines. So what I'll do next is to cut, so please watch me closely and know where to cut. So this is what I have after cutting, and this is what you should have if you have been following me. So we're going to slash and spread our cup. I'm going to measure on my shoulder line, and what I have is 3 inches. So what I'll do is to take half an inch at different intervals. So I'll take half an inch, and from there I'll take another half an inch. From that point I'll take another half an inch, and from this half an inch I'll take another half an inch. So I have 5 lines all together, and I'll make those lines into a straight line. So I'm going to start slashing. I'm not going to cut it out completely, so I'll slash through like this. So I'll get a fresh pattern paper, and I'm going to place it on the fresh pattern paper like this. I'll use my masking tape to hold the upper part down like this so that it will not move. And then I'll start spreading like this. So from this part, I'm going to hold this one down, that is the one at the end, and I'll take 1 inch from that point like this. On that 1 inch, I'm going to place the next one on the 1 inch like this. I will also hold it down with my masking tape, and I'll measure 1 inch from that point also, and I'll place the next one on that 1 inch, I'll hold it down again. I'll also take another 1 inch. I'll continue like this till I reach the end. So after doing that, this is what I have. Next thing I'll do is to trace out what I have on this fresh pattern paper, just like this. So I'm going to work my way around it just like this, and I will cut. So after cutting, this is what I have for my cup. So this is what I have. This is my cup. This is my side front, and this is my center front, and this is my cup. So these are all the patterns we need for the front pattern of this dress. So what I'll do next is to staple my side front and my center front together. So from the waistline, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches. As you can see, the waistline of this top is not straight, so I'm taking this out to get the effect you can see on this waistline. So what I'll do next is to cut the remaining part out. So this is what we have for the front pattern of our top, and of course I'm going to remove this masking tape before I cut my fabric. So for the back pattern of this dress, I've already drafted out my basic bodies just like we did for the front. The only difference here is the zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. I already took my dart and every other thing, so I'm going to take 3 inches just like we did for the front. This is going to be the shoulder of my top. So as you can see at the back of this top, the back is a V-shape neckline, so I'm going to connect like this from the 3 inches to meet my chest line. And what I'll do next is to curve out my armhole. So on my chest line, I'll take my bust circumference divided by 4, and then I'll curve out like this. The back armhole is completely different from the front armhole, so we are done with the back armhole, and I'm going to add 1.5 inches for my seam allowance, same thing I did for the front pattern. And on my waistline also, I'm going to take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll measure out my darts, I'll replace it on that line, and then I'll add the 1.5 inches seam allowance. And on my top length, I'm also going to take my hip circumference divided by 4. I'll measure out my dart, I'll replace it, and then I'll add the 1.5 inches seam allowance, and I'll connect my lines. So on the waistline, I'll come down by 1.5 inches just like I did for the front pattern, in order for us to have that V effect that you can see on the top, and I'll slant to meet the other side, and then I'm going to cut. I'm also going to cut this part out so that I'll be able to use a white fabric to cut it, as you can see at the back of this top. So yeah, this is all the pattern. These are all the patterns that we need to cut out this dress. I hope you're able to learn 1 or 2 from this video. Please stay tuned for the sewing part of this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. Please like this video, comment. See you guys in the next one. Bye guys.